Welcome back everyone. In today's video we are going to be flying out the Ta-152H sitting at 6.0 in the German tech tree. For a while now this plane has been one of my favorite German aircraft as I just really enjoy how it flies. The Ta-H in my opinion is the best German prop and is very solid at its own BR. However, I have recently been getting a lot of full up tiers to 7.0 and facing jets in this thing is pretty annoying, but against most props the Ta-H easily competes. This plane has a very unique playstyle unlike most other planes, which relies on two of its main strengths, which is its energy retention and its flaps. I don't exactly know why. It has something to do with like its obscenely long wings, but the Ta-H has excellent maneuver and energy retention and also has amazing flaps. I mean, you can just see, like, look how big they are. Keep in mind, this plane has some drawbacks that are pretty annoying when you first start playing this aircraft because the Ta-H is not a plane that you are immediately going to do well in. It takes time to get used to this. It takes time to get used to its playstyle as well as its guns, but once you start to understand how to fly the Ta-H, this plane becomes a true killer. Now, the main thing you want to do in the Ta-H is bait people into vertical fights where you can use both the good energy retention and flaps. I like to conserve my speed in the first turn, then once the enemy is kind of pulling in for a shot, I deploy landing flaps to make them miss, and then I loop back down on top of them. You can also take more of an aggressive route and do high yo-yo immediately with landing flaps, which will allow you to get the first shot on almost every aircraft you face. The main move I use is a vertical spiral, however. The way I see it, you can either choose to keep all of your speed without flaps, or use flaps, landing flaps specifically, to turn really well. By the way, this thing at low speeds outturns Griffin Spitfires and Yak 3Us, so use that to your advantage. Since this is a full review video, I am going to be showing you guys plenty of examples of situations that you will find yourself in during battle so that you can learn how to fly this thing to its maximum potential. First, we are going to start off with a reversal and a fight against the P-51H, then we're going to move on to some boom and zoom situations where I show you how to bait people up into spirals, and lastly, we have 3 high kill full matches to end the video with. I will mark these segments with timestamps, and I will also leave my pregame setup in the description, such as like ammo, fuel, convergence, all that stuff. But before moving on, I'm going to ask you guys to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my videos and want to support my channel. It would be really appreciated. So without further ado, let's hop into it. So we're first going to start off with a reversal. So there is a P-51H above me, and after nearly getting one shot on fire by 50 cal from 1.3, I'm going to ignore that and I'm going to turn under him, and this essentially makes the shot harder for him, and it both makes us faster. So he is going to compress, I roll under and then back over his guns, and I'm going to keep him on my wingtip, and he's basically never going to get a shot on me. He realizes this and pulls off. However, with the speed that I got, or at least retained out of that kind of a maneuver, I'm going to have enough speed to kind of keep going up after him, and after he goes behind my wing, he's magically set on fire. German 20 mils at their finest. I didn't even know they could reach that far, but yeah, he does get set on fire. He gets set on a second fire, and he is going to go down. And the Ta-H is really good at kind of those reversals where the enemy starts off a lot higher, because in those kind of turns, you do keep a lot more of your speed, and that allows you to get those shots. So the second example, I believe I put this in my reversal montage that I made a couple of days ago, but it is a very good example on how to fight a P-51. So instead of using my landing flaps immediately, well, I would rip them right now, I'm going a bit too fast. I'm going to wait because I want to like bait this guy into thinking he can turn with me. However, once I go vertical and kind of straight over his nose, I deploy the landing flaps and I instantly start turning into him. And at this point there's nothing he can do except hope and pray that I miss. However, yeah, I'm not going to miss that. He presents a full broadside and he is eventually going to go down. He was too slow to dodge, and just kind of sticking in that dogfight was the thing that got him killed in the first place. If he didn't go to that dogfight and just kind of extended away, he would have easily had me. But yeah, he didn't. So we're now going to move on to kind of more B and Z situations, more examples of me spiraling people up with the kind of an altitude advantage this time. I'm going to be above the enemy, and I'm going to be able to kind of choose how to pick my fights. So after killing P-51, I'm above, I think, 4 people, maybe 5 people, and it is important in this situation to kind of pick the right target, because if you go for somebody that is not of utmost priority, or somebody that's not like the highest energy state, you are going to get jumped by somebody else. And this thing, although it has good energy retention, it doesn't have good energy production. It doesn't have the best climb, not the best acceleration, and so you need to be careful while approaching your targets. So after I kill the Bearcat, I'm going to go up and spiral above the F7, and he's not really looking to pitch up for me. However, this P-51H is, so I'm going to dedicate my focus and priority to him. And yeah, as long as I just kind of deploy takeoff flaps and eventually landing, he is never going to get a shot on me because I just turn so much tighter than him, especially at these speeds. And I'm just going to kind of wait until he stalls out. There he goes, and I can now drop down, and instantly you can see how quickly I drop down on top of him. And he's too slow to dodge. There's nothing he can do. He goes down. And before going for the Spitfire, I'm going to look for the F7F. His nose isn't pointing towards me, so I'm kind of free to go for the Spitfire as I please. Spitfire presents a full broadside shot. He's not really looking at me. He goes down. And the F7F is also going to go down in a second, and that is going to be game. This next clip is also an example of me starting with the energy advantage, and this is going to be me being solo over 4 guys. And Spear, who is in my squad, he is keeping the jets at bay. This was a full up tier. And yeah, you're going to get a lot of these matches, at least for me. I got a lot of them. It was unfortunate. But anyways, we are going to start out with going for the F2G. He is the highest, and he seems to be paying attention to me. I take a shot. Luckily, my 30 mils connect. He goes down. And now I can focus on the 3 lower enemies. And since I am going pretty fast, this thing is also actually quite fast in dive. I'm just going to use that speed to convert to altitude, and also use it to kind of spiral above this P-51H, entice him, make him look like he's going to get a shot on me. However, the second I drop these landing flaps and spiral above him, there's literally nothing he can do. You can see how much tighter I'm pulling than him. And yeah, the second he stalls out, I drop back down. He's not really pointing his nose towards me, and he's going to go down. Excuse me. We're now going to go towards the last 2 enemies. I want to start out by going for the Bearcat because he has 20 mils and he is a bit more dangerous. He's closer to me. Unfortunately, I only get a hit on his wingtip, and instead of trying to turn with him, I'm going to give the P-51H my 6 if I do that. I'm going to turn into the P-51H and then loop back over him and then start heading towards the F-8F after that. I do kind of neg G to gain a bit of altitude and extend away from the F-8F just a bit. But now, since the F-8F is a bit damaged, I think a 30 mil or a 20 mil hit his wingtip, he's not going to be doing too well, so he doesn't pitch up, and that just kind of leaves me with plenty of room to spiral above the P-51H, drop these landing flaps, and you can see just how much better I turn than this guy. He's way too slow to dodge. Easy shot. He goes down, and I can now go for the Bearcat without any trouble. He is the last enemy in the area. There is an F-3D above me, however, he's not close enough to me to help with the Bearcat, so I'm pretty free to make a pass on this guy. He's going way too slow, and he is the last guy to go down. Unfortunately, we did lose that game on tickets because we got the really bad side of the map, and we were also facing America, which has really good ground pounding capabilities, but that's just how it is, especially at this tier. A lot of attackers are on the American team, so ticket losses are pretty common, and yeah, there's not much you can do. Anyways, we're going to move to the last kind of booming zoom example before the full matches. I start off above a Bearcat who's not really paying attention. I don't really know what his plan was. I missed the first burst because these guns are very slow. But yeah, since he was AFK, I just am able to adjust my fire without him noticing and take him out. So I'm now going to kind of circle back over the fray. And the main target I'm going to look at is the F-80. He is a jet, he is a very fast jet, and he's going to be a complete nuisance to me if I don't take him out now. I'm a pretty slow prop. I'm not a very slow, but pretty slow. However, I'm coming out of this dive, I'm going almost 800, and I'm going to be able to catch him off guard here. Luckily, he's not looking behind him. It allows me to set up a pretty easy shot, and I take his tail off. So, forgetting him now, because he has no tail control, I'm going to just kind of look down towards the rest of the enemy. It is a massive furball down there. I have altitude over everyone, and before pitching in there, the F-8F does try and head on me in that spiral climb. And I'm not going to take it because he has better guns than me and I have more energy. It's a complete waste of a life to commit to that head on there. So I just loop back over, and the F-8F is much too slow to dodge. He's going to go down. I don't really know why he didn't try and dodge, but I don't really have time to focus on that. Another F-8F is coming in, and I'm just going to pitch up over his guns as well. And the second I see he's about to get his nose on, I deploy landing flaps, and you can see the landing flaps kind of saved me there because I just started turning so much better that he kind of didn't expect it. And yeah, my teammate comes in and cleans 2 of them up, 2 nice baits, and yeah, basically the last enemy in this situation is the Focke-Wulf, and yeah, he's going to be my main priority target now because he is the highest. Unfortunately, I only get hits there. My roll was compressing, and the roll compression on this thing is going to be your main problem with aiming your guns. This thing's roll compresses at like 500, and it gets exponentially worse as the faster you go. However, the elevator doesn't really compress. It works pretty well, and the rudder it's okay. Not too much of a. It's a pretty average rudder. But yeah, the main issue is going to be the roll. Anyways, we're going to move on to, after that rant, we're going to move on to the first of the 3 high kill games. This was actually pretty recent. This was a 7 kill game on a frontline map, and this was also a very rare full down tier. This was one of the only ones I've gotten all day, and this was as a duo with Spear. I'd also like to welcome Spear to Ceres. He's the newest member. He is the second US member besides me to join Ceres. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool. So I'd like to welcome him in. And yeah, after I kill the LA9, who is kind of mindlessly pitching up for me, I don't really know what he was doing. I am going to kind of try and bait this A7M for Spear. However, he is going too fast to use his flaps. He's going too fast to be able to pull into the A7. So he just extends away. The A7 is too slow to do anything to either of us right now. So I have all the time in the world. I can just kind of choose however I want to fight him. And right now, I'm just going to wait until he starts his move. I predict that he's going to roll back under. I line up a shot, and he gets set on fire. Unfortunately, the A7M is actually going to put that out pretty shortly. I still have to dodge his guns. It is an A7 after all. He has pretty high velocity, high range guns, especially for a Japanese fighter. But I am far enough away from him now that I can go for this F82 without worrying. Bit of bad aim on the first burst, however, he's not paying attention, so I make a pretty easy second burst after adjusting my aim. And I'm now going to pitch up and over the F82, the second F82. And I do retain enough energy to kind of get a snapshot here. However, he is going so fast that he's already far away. As you can see, the A7M behind me put the fire out, and it honestly looks like he's still doing just fine. So that is going to be a bit of a worry. He's still a problem. So I'm just going to extend away from him. There is also a Key 4 that I'm paying attention to in the background. However, he will die to a teammate later on. But that's just kind of to keep in mind. So right now I want to focus this P51 as well as the A7M because he is on a teammate. Excuse me, both of them are on a teammate and they are distracted by him, so I am going to get a free pass. The A7M actually pitches up for me into a head-on. However, I'm having none of that. I just bait him up into a spiral, and I don't really need to use landing flaps until now because he's already stalled out, and I don't need to flip over until now. So yeah, I just kind of wait. He presents a full broadside. He's way too slow to dodge. He goes down, and I'm now going to go for the P51D. And I'm going plenty fast right now. This P51 is actually going for Spear. I tell him to start turning up and to the right to bait him. He does just that. P51D is completely oblivious, and he goes down. So that is going to be 4. And right now I'm just extending away from the LF Mark 9. I don't know exactly what LF Mark 9 that is. It could be the really good variant, which is the premium non-clipped wing, or it could be the clipped wing. This did turn out to be a clipped wing later on in the game, but I didn't know that, so it was important that I figured that out or just kind of maintained altitude over him. Luckily, the H-152 does push him down, so I can actually turn around now and start focusing the other guys. My main priority is still going to be the Spitfire, though, because firstly, he has his back turned to me. Secondly, he is the most dangerous enemy out of the P47 and A6M5, so I tell Spear that you're good to go for the other guys while I deal with the Spitfire. And I try and, Spitfire actually does pretty well dodging me. My rudder, or not my rudder, the roll is compressing, and I just can't hit him. But all I need to do is just extend away, and he actually doesn't really follow me, so I can loop over immediately, and then continue to follow him. And yeah, right now, it's just kind of staying on a 6. He's too slow to get away from me, and he's too slow to dodge. And the LA9 isn't as much of a problem as he looks right now. Spitfire gets severely damaged, and you can see him like trying to roll over, but at that speed you are almost going to crash into the ground like that. At least I was in that situation. And yeah, he goes down anyways, and there's an LA9 above me. However, I'm not really worried because I have teammates around, and I also turn much better than this guy. My plane just performs better, and for some reason he forgets that I'm here, and he starts going after Spear in a spiral, which is completely in both of our favor. So he's going to go down, and that's going to be 6, and I get hit by mid-map AA. Absolutely love to see it. Guys United's finest. But anyways, after a couple of minutes kind of climbing over the airfield, this guy was camping for a bit. I mean, I understand, but I also don't understand why he would camp. There was like, it was like a 6v1. But yeah, me and Spear, we're going to make passes, take turns making passes on this guy. Unfortunately, I can't really roll right here, so I have to like try and predict. However, he does a weird negative G, and yeah, since I'm going 800, my rudder isn't working either, and there's not really much I can do to adjust to that shot. So I'm just going to extend away, loop up, and Spear makes a pass, and he's also not going to hit him because he's probably going like 750 as well. But yeah, it's only a matter of time before this guy either gets back to his airfield AA or he goes down. And finally, he's going slow enough and I'm going slow enough to where I can actually line up a shot pretty well. And that's going to be 7. GG. And also a team kill from Spear at the end here. Classic. Anyways, we're going to move on to the second full match of the video. This is a 6-kill solo game, and we're starting off at shooting at this AFK LA9, who the Hornet actually gets to first. However, I'm still able to get severe damage and finish him off. So after that, I'm just kind of assessing the situation. I'm deciding which furball I need to go for, and the left furball doesn't really seem as enticing. And I also want to be careful of that LA9 on the right. However, these two P51Hs are going to be a problem if they get altitude, so they are the main priority right now. So I'm going to start diving on this guy. He doesn't really roll out of the way in time. He goes down, and I'm just going to extend away from the P51. He has absolutely no chance of catching me, and I have so much more energy than him right now that I can actually just immediately go vertical into a loop. And there's not really much he can do to catch me, and since he pitches up here, he's going to be too slow to dodge me. And he tries turning sideways. However, I'm going to predict that he's going to roll under. It actually makes a pretty easy shot for me, and he's going to go down as well. So after that, I spent a lot of time flying away actually, and just kind of assessing the situation because I am solo. I don't really have any squad mates that can back me up, and I find an F2G who is side climbing, and he is below me. However, I think he actually just took off of his airfield maybe a minute ago. But what I'm going to do is just bring him up into a spiral because he can't really do anything to me as long as I dodge his first pass. So after he misses, he goes down, and I'm going to follow because there's nobody really above me, and he is the main priority, so I'm going to keep chasing him. He goes towards his teammate, which is the smart move. However, my teammate is also over there, and in this point, there's 3 enemies. I'm just kind of either trying to dodge or figure out which one I want to go for. I go under the F8F and over the F2G, and I'm just going to kind of spiral up again because that's what this plane excels at. That's where I feel most safe, and I have enough speed to extend away from the F2G as well as go for the LA9, who is very slow right now. He's a very easy target to go for, and I can just kind of pick him off while kind of climbing back up. So I'm going to climb back up for a while here because if I turn around for the F2G, it's not really worth it because there's a teammate already on a 6, and I also wanted to try and get this LA9 who is on the airfield to strafe him because getting numbers down in that situation is always nice. However, there are missiles coming my way because it's a full up tier, and there were also the LA9 also Jade out, so I couldn't really get him. Anyways, I'm ending up back towards the F2G. If I committed to that shot anymore, I probably would have crashed into the ground, so I end up pulling off pretty early. I don't get the shot there, unfortunately. However, the longer this fight goes on, the better my advantage is because we are going to go slower. I can start using my flaps. I start compressing less. And yeah, soon enough, I actually end up behind him. The LA9 comes out of nowhere. I actually didn't see him there, which could have been the end of me. However, I think the LA9 either wasn't looking at me for some reason, or his teammate was actually blocking him from shooting me. But anyways, he ends up kind of just stalling out directly in front of my guns, and that's going to be I think 5. And yeah, this is the 6th kill. The F8F actually took off and didn't airfield camp, which I really respect, but he is lower than me, and I dodge under and then back over his guns, and since he has a teammate to deal with, I'm going to get his 6 for free here. And this is also a situation where you should be careful because after the whiff here, my energy retention is actually going to be a big issue because what's it called? The F8F has really bad energy retention, and this actually works as an advantage in a situation because he can actually just kind of sit behind me because he puts out the fire. He's actually turning just fine, and I'm having trouble losing speed. You can see I'm 0 throttle right here. I'm turning, and I'm still barely losing speed. He actually almost gets a shot there because he can just kind of sit inside of my turn. So again, I have to be very careful. And usually F8Fs aren't really a big deal to fight in the Ta-H. However, if they're either above you or on your 6, they can be a problem because of that energy retention, because they will stay on your 6. However, he goes down eventually, and that is going to be game. Moving on to the last game, this was a 7-kill game, and I think this is also a full up tier because most of your matches, I think like 80% of my matches were 6-7 or 7-0, which was honestly pretty lame. Fighting jets in this thing is not fun because you are slow. But anyways, we are going to start out above the furball again, and my main priority target is going to be the F-84 because he's actually going quite slow right now, and it is also a jet that goes literally twice as fast as me. So it's very nice to have him be an easy target in that situation and kind of get rid of him. So after killing him, I'm just going to kind of assess the situation because as of right now, there's only one other teammate besides me in this area, and I'm just going to wait for maybe somebody to pitch up for me, and this P-51H does. So what I can do is just, again, spiral above him, use the takeoff flaps. I don't need to use landing flaps because I'm going a bit too fast, and the P-51H is already stalled out below me. And since he doesn't really dodge, he's also kind of too slow to dodge anyways, he is going to present a full broadside to me. And yeah, he goes down, and I'm just going to climb away because I want to focus on the main goal of keeping my altitude advantage, and I can see the K-84 was about to pitch up. I knew that, so I'm going to go towards the cluster of enemies. However, instead of going for the K-84, I go for the LA-9, who is just a much easier target because I want the highest probability of getting a kill here. And after killing him, I'm going to go for the Tiger Cat because he's also going pretty slow too. He makes for a pretty easy shot. I adjust my second burst. He's going to go down. And I'm now just going to extend back towards P-51 because in this situation, I actually have more teammates around now because they started coming in. I actually made a bit of a mistake there by turning in front of the P-51H. If he targeted me and got a good burst in, I probably would have died there. But luckily he didn't. He got pilot sniped in the head on, and I can now just kind of focus on this K-84. He is going to be able to run away from me, unfortunately, because I did lose a lot of speed by losing altitude. And you're going to see that it is a problem with this plane on energy production. This plane doesn't have the best acceleration. It has a lot of drag because of those big wings. And it also doesn't have the best climb. It is still a Focke-Wulf. But yeah, also, if that name looked familiar, a literal bird is actually the first guy in my intro montage to the Strange Trails reversal montage, the first one that I made. He's the first guy that I killed in that montage, so that is pretty funny to run into him again. But anyways, we have more important things to deal with, as there is an A2D who has an absolutely monstrous climb, and yeah, he's going to be quite annoying. However, he does extend away. The P-51H does come off his airfield, and he is severe, so I checked the scoreboard before, but he is a free kill, free XP, and it also got me 7 this game, so I'm going to take him. And after a bit of climbing, the A2D actually kind of forgets about me, I think, and he ends up diving for a teammate. The teammate dies. However, the A2D is it's definitely worth trading a teammate for because that thing needs to go, and I'm going to prioritize him over the K-84. He goes down. Nice little shot there. And now I can just pitch up into the K-84, and since he's not really going fast enough, I can actually just kind of turn into him with these takeoff flaps. And I have to be careful not to get not to cross back into his gun sight. However, as long as I just kind of stay out of his guns, deploy these landing flaps, he's not really going to be able to do much. With landing flaps, I completely outturn him, and that's kind of the magic of the Ta-152H. You just outturn pretty much everything with these landing flaps, and that's what makes it so nice. You have an option between kind of taking the energy retention with no flaps, or kind of surprising your enemies with landing flaps. And that's the main playstyle, that's the main thing that makes this plane so good. If you are able to master the flap usage, and you're able to master kind of having energy and baiting people into those fights, you're going to end up winning a lot of games. You're going to end up winning a lot of engagements. And yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.